All right, so I am live. I'm getting everything set up. I just want to make sure if you're watching this after the actual live stream, sorry you missed it. This was kind of a spur of the moment. So if you're watching this after, thank you for watching it. I'm going to try to keep it maybe an hour and a half tops. I don't want these to get outrageous. The last one was such a hit. I want to continue to do them as much as I can. But mostly the subject of this one is going to be this full-time YouTuber life that has kind of just like happened in my life, and how everything kind of reminds me of that exist. And it's just been a very interesting experience. I was going to release a normal video today. However, my laptop did break and I actually had to get a brand new laptop. Luckily, I haven't lost any footage because I have switched over to external hard drives. It just meant I couldn't upload today. So I'm making this live stream just so that we had something, to talk about, something to be uploaded today. But hey, everything's just going to get pushed back. I will have a video Wednesday. So once again, for all the people joining in, thank you so much. This is going to be kind of just a general chat for the most part. It seemed like that was enough content the last time I did a live stream. But the overall focus, if I do have a topic, it's this full-time YouTuber life, what it means, what are my plans, and things like that. So if you are joining in, thank you. And if you're joining us later, thank you for joining in once again. And I am sorry I didn't have a full upload today, but hopefully this makes up for it a little bit. Let me pull up the live chat here on my computer so I can actually see everything because it just scrolls so fast on my phone. So let me get to that real quick and we will get this party started. And hello to all 27 people in here in the first minute and 35. All right. 47. Let's see, you might need to shift this a little bit. Here, we'll get a little range. Yes, you'll get the laptop in the background. All right, there we go. And then I don't need to see my face. I just want to see... No. This thing is ridiculous. Oh, here we go. Oh, yes. All right, there we go. Maybe right here? Maybe? No. We're going to figure this out. See, this is the awkward thing about live streams. It doesn't give you enough time to prepare yourself before you start responding to people. And there's already so many wonderful people in here. It's great to see everyone. So I do have my phone right here, which is actually recording me. And then I do have the live chat here. So if I'm not directly looking at you, it's actually because I am looking at you, but in the live chat. All right, I don't have any alcohol. Sorry, I'm not going to get drunk and reveal all my secrets. I'm just hydrating today. And hello. Okay, let's see. I've missed so much. And then I think it's just everyone saying hi. El, the Seeker of Wisdom, it's so nice to see you, my friend. What did you say about my laptop? Because it did make me cry. Okay, yeah, so the story of the laptop, basically, I updated it last night. So I had a MacBook Pro. It was a 2014. I bought it about February, and it was like $650, which was a good price. I prefer the 2014 models because they still have the SD card, which is obviously helpful for a photographer slash videographer. And it was great, but I guess what had happened is whoever owned it before put an aftermarket like a solid state drive in it, aftermarket hard drive into it, and they didn't do it well, and it basically messed up the insides, and it eventually just failed. Like I took it into the Apple store, and they opened it up, and they were like, "Good God, like what is wrong with this thing?" And like I guess they didn't even put the right size in there, and it was all jacked up. And they're like, "Look, at best it'll be $500 to fix it." And we can't even guarantee it's going to work for long after. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I ended up, purchasing a new laptop. I financed for the most part. It was kind of unexpected, but at the same time, I do need a laptop to edit. So it was expensive regardless of anything. But it is a nice new laptop. It'll make my workflow faster. I'm just glad I didn't lose my videos. Honestly, the videos I have on my external hard drive, I'm so excited to share, like my Njord video. I'm so excited for everyone to watch, and I recorded a live recording of me and the people I went camping with over the weekend reading Lokasenna. And I really want people to have that live recording, and I want that live recording. So I'm so glad I was able to save those at the very least. All right, let's see here. What am I missing? Got to find that right angle. I do have to find that right angle. This is actually a really good angle because you get a little bit of my bookshelf. For the most part, everything up here is all my pagan / Russian books because I have quite a few Russian books too. And then I have like a woo shelf where a lot of gifts I've gotten from people. This painting, I don't know if she's in here, but this is from Amanda or Scotty. So she painted this. from the last gathering. And I guess she painted it beforehand and didn't know I was actually going to be wearing a green robe. And the fact that it was also raining at the same time we had the Midsummer ritual. No, don't do that. Hold on. Someone was like, I'm going to call you back. And I'm just going to say, don't call me. There we go. Yeah, don't do that. But yes, so this was a really nice painting, and the fact that it was kind of like a premonition of what was happening was pretty cool. All right. All right. Nate, I know you're looking for Florida pagans. Whoever's Florida pagan, Casey. Okay, whoever's Florida pagans out there, I know Nate is looking for Florida pagans, and I think we have a couple out there. Me and Nate have been chit-chatting across YouTube and Instagram, so definitely reach him out to him. Raul, yes, it's so good to see you, my friend. Welcome. How late is it there? Is it midnight? That's not too bad. You're fine. Yeah, I knew we had some Florida people in here. I know I've talked to a few, so definitely try to reach out on Instagram. New subscriber here. Does your mom know that you're a Norse pagan now? So I've been kind of going back and forth if it's time. So the last time I had a religious talk with my mom was actually on her birthday, because of course she had to put me in that position. So with my mother, she asked me if I believed in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ yet. And I basically said, look, Mom, you know, I don't believe in Christianity. I have my beliefs. I'm very happy with what I believe in, but I'm not really ever going to be a Christian. And I kind of left it at that. I don't think she can really comprehend what I do. For the most part, you know, my everyone knows besides my mother. And the only reason I haven't told her is because I really do think it'll just cause her more pain than it will, you know, benefit me in the slightest. You know, yes, I have to like kind of beat around the bush about definitely how I make a living now, because, you know, this YouTube is literally all I do. So yeah, that's kind of my mother situation. A lot of people always ask about that. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's not like, you know, it's for my own better. It's not for my own betterment. Like, it's not going to make me feel any better to make her feel worse. I mean, I love my mother. She's a really nice woman. She's just stuck in the old ways. I mean, I think it's helped people. My mother is like 63. My mother's actually quite old. She had me very late in her life, so she's very set in her old ways. Hey, Jacob, happy to see you. You're still getting a video out tonight. Keep up the good work. Oh, hey, my Norse Pagan journey. So good to see you. You've been putting out a lot of content lately, man. Keep it up. She knows already. Oh, doubtful. I don't even think my mom recognizes other religions as existing. Like, I remember way back in the day, I was like, you know, Catholics seem pretty cool. Like, they got some cool traditions. And she was like, they don't believe in what we believe, Jacob. She's not that country, but she is Baptist. She only thinks Baptists get to go to heaven. So she's very set in her old ways. Like, I don't even think if I said pagan, like, it would even, like, register. She would definitely be one of those that's just like, oh, Satan, for sure. So we got a lot of great countries in here. I see someone just said some hello from London. I know we got someone from Spain, of course, people across the United States, someone in Australia. We have so many people from across the world here. We have 66 people in here in total, and it's a truly wonderful thing to see. We got quite a few YouTubers I've seen, My Norse Pagan Journey, The Raven's Eye. We got The Seeker of Wisdom. I got so many people of you that, you know, I've seen people that are on my Patreon. I mean, I see so many of you wonderful people in here, and it's just great to see. You know, I definitely wanted to do another one of these. I'm still trying to figure out the balance. I know the next time I do a live stream will be a Patreon exclusive, because technically it does say in my Patreon that live streams are exclusives from them. So the next one will be a Patreon exclusive. But I definitely, once again, wanted to make a video today to talk to everyone and at least, you know, explain the situation of why I didn't post today. I'm very, I guess, ritualistic or disciplined. Like, I upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday, no matter what. Like, I don't care if I have to lose a leg. So, you know, I have 3 videos just sitting here, like, in my hard drive, ready to go. It's just, right now I'm re-downloading my editing software, so it's just going to take some times. Hello from Vermont, watching you. So great. We got a Vermont person, Ohio person here, Brazil, Texas. Oh, my. This is great. How do you feel about nighttime versus daytime meditation? So meditation for me has changed since obviously going from Buddhism to Norse paganism. In Buddhism, I found it more as a daily ritualistic thing. So I would do it in the mornings and then maybe in the afternoons. My problem with doing meditation in the morning, it just makes me more tired. I usually want to get my blood pumping with an exercise or a run rather than meditating to start my day. And usually I follow the have them all very, very, closely in the sense that, like, I don't let myself go to bed with a lot of pressure. I usually finish what I have to do during the day, and then I go to bed with a clean mind, and then I wake up with a clean mind. It's a really great way to live. It's hard to get yourself there because we let the world pressure really rest on our shoulders, even when we go to bed. So I think meditation before bed is more effective. But now as a pagan, I tend to meditate only in nature because that's really how I feel connected to the gods, is meditating out in nature. So Raul said it's definitely a nighttime for him. We see someone from Colorado, Alabama. Look how many pagans are. Okay, so straight up, I need to go out more often because I swear, I don't know if it was just a blessing the gods put on me, but I run into pagans not necessarily pagans, but people ask me questions all the time, So I went to the Apple store today to get my laptop fixed. And now I have to tell people, they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a full-time YouTuber. So that's really good. And it really opens up that conversation because usually right away I'm just like, oh yeah, it's a Norse Pagan YouTube channel. And they're like, well, okay, what's that? And so I usually have to explain. So I get a lot of positive feedback. So it's really changing that perspective because a lot of people don't even know what Norse paganism is. And so the fact that they're meeting this guy that's just at a MacBook store in his tank top and flip-flops, it's just like, yeah, I'm a Norse pagan and got my Mjolnir on. It was a cool interaction. And then someone even I went to one of the Chinese places inside the mall, and someone at the cash register was like, is that a Mjolnir? And we ended up talking, and I ended up giving her the Wisdom of Odin and stuff. So yeah, it's really cool. Let's see. So yeah, we got someone from Arizona, South Carolina. Nice. Have you had any bad experiences with the gods? As far as I feel like there's hard lessons. I feel like I haven't had any nefarious things happen to me as far as with the gods themselves. I do think there's negative presences out there. We were actually talking about this in the Discord not too long ago about ghosts and stuff. So I actually used to be into ghost hunting. My first job was actually in a haunted hotel, which is kind of cool to have as a first job. And then me and my friends would always go around graveyards and haunted places and, ghost hunt in the sense. And let me tell you, there's some evil things out there. And I would say even before I got into paganism, there is some evil stuff out there, evil energy. And I don't feel like I've had any through the gods necessarily. I don't know if I'd call anything an evil god. Even Loki, I had the podcast now. We had an episode of talking about Loki, and I think we went really in depth in that if you want to really dive into the Loki conversation. But I don't think he's evil. Chaos isn't necessarily evil. It just sometimes has negative effects. And definitely, I've had some very hard lessons. In fact, one of my first major signs from the gods is when I left my general manager job, which I was making very good money, and started my own freelance photography business. And there was a point where I was dead broke. I had 13 cents in my bank account. And obviously all the debts behind me from school and whatnot and cars. But I had 13 cents in my bank account at one point, and I had no clients. But I used that 13 cents to spend buy 15 minutes of a parking meter to meet a client and get a business from them. And I ended up getting a really good client. So the gods have really hard lessons, and that's why I made that worshiping Odin video, because it's not always going to be easy. The lessons aren't always going to be easy to take in. But as far as an evil negative presence, I would say probably not, even with Loki. 71 people here. Amazing. Let's see here. Podcast was awesome. Yeah, for anyone enjoying the podcast, thank you so much. It's taken off really well. I think we've almost had Scotty, wonderful to see you. We were talking about your painting, which is on display back here. So thank you again for that. It was a great gift. I do keep it there at all times. Negative presence is not a thing. All right. Yeah, podcast. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So podcast has been going really great. We have almost 1,000 downloads, I think, across everything. So for everyone listening in, thank you. I hope to keep it up every single week. I may start transitioning my readings of the Poetic Edda over there, because I know that's something that was been asked in the past. Is when I had the Voluspa and Grimnismal as readings. People have asked me for those in podcast form, so I may start Yeah, I can do that. Okay. No, I had a thought. I was like, were those just on the laptop that's dead now? But I think I didn't move those over to the external hard drive. I'm 90% sure I did, and then I can just take the audio and move it over to podcast form. All right. Leave a link to your podcast. I need to put the link tree in my YouTube. Again, I don't have I'm just on my like barely working gaming PC. I don't have all the links on here. I'll leave a link. I mean, the link's in my Instagram, and I'll start putting my link tree in my videos actually, because it has a link to everything. On podcast will be on Spotify. It should be on Spotify right now. The Folk Podcast. If you search the Folk Podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or Podbean, it should pop up like one of the first ones. So yeah, look for that. Search it. All 3 episodes. The only thing with like, as soon as I upload it to Podbean, it usually takes about 15 minutes to get on Spotify, and then it takes about 12 hours to get on Apple Podcast. It's kind of weird like that. Let's see here. What's your opinion on bloodening runes? So I'm actually, let's see here. Let me grab my runes real quick. So as far as bloodening runes, I am actually putting together the Q&A video. I put out questions of runes, and one of the questions is how to activate them and whatnot. And so one of those things is bloodening. So everything I've been taught, and I'm self-taught as in the sense that I've read books and stuff, but I have had someone teach me the runes before too, like someone that has been in this for like years. So I did bloodden my runes. So there's certain ones that have really good markings on them. So like Wunyo has really good blood left on there. But what I was taught with the runes is that the runes love blood, and to activate them effectively, you do need to use blood. And that's something that's kind of a taboo that's not talked about, I think, on the surface level of paganism, is that blood is an element. Now, I don't know if we want to start having the like animal sacrifice, debate yet, like if we're going to bring that back or not. I do believe in sacrificing meat. I've sacrificed meat in the past, but I don't know about like getting a goat and like doing a full-on sacrifice. But yeah, so everything I've been taught about runes has been about bloodening them. So let's see if I have any other good ones that have some blood left on them. But even tattoos, like I was told pretty early on, like tattoos are actually a really good way to use the runes to activate them, because you are giving a sacrifice of blood when you are putting them on your body. It's just you have to be very aware that what runes do when you put them on your body. Is Discord a Patreon exclusive? Yes. So Discord is a Patreon exclusive. It is offered at the $5 level. It's a really great community. I mean, we've had hardly any problems in there. And it's just, I think we have almost 170 members at this point. We have 21 admins. We just added a military channel. We're starting to divvy up into different groups so we can put on different gatherings. So it's a great community. It's not like you can't go to the gatherings if you're not a Patreon member. It's just, if you want to be part of the planning process, that's the best place to go. So, if you do choose to support me on Patreon, that's the best thing I offer by far is Discord, for sure. I'm very proud of how Discord has turned out. Let's see. People are talking about bloodening runes. I mix a few drops of blood into paint, and I used to highlight the runes after I carve them. Yeah, so what I did, so you can actually see a little bit probably of the scar, maybe right there. So I actually slit my thumb right there. Drained the blood into like a little coffee cup, and then I put like cotton swabs in there, like for like Q-tips. And then as I activated the runes, I dipped it in the blood, and I drew the rune on, like the blood onto the rune, and then did through the whole process. Now I ran out of blood 3 times, and I had to cut myself there and then there as well. So I'm open to more suggestions on how to get proper blood. I know some people use like diabetic testers, like the prick the finger. I know some people do that, but I do like a knife because it's very like ritualistic. But yeah, by the 3rd time you're slitting your fingers open, you're like, I don't want to anymore. I was so tired of the blood drying up. So maybe mixing it with paint is a good idea. Let's see here. Anything else on bloodening runes? How do you get your blood for the runes? Yeah, so I cut my hand. I've also, so like for my Oath to Odin, technically my Oath to Odin is my chest tattoo. That was my Oath to Odin, so I did give blood. But I have also given blood oaths with slitting open the palm of my hand. Blood's one of those things I'm working on putting together an official video on it, because I want to be more articulate, make sure I talk about things right, because it is a taboo. I mean, it's one of those things once you get into the faith that it's pretty normal. People start talking about blood. It's just, when you mention that to someone that knows nothing about the faith, it kind of freaks them out. So, yeah. I'll make an official video on blood and stuff like that. But yeah, I usually get my blood from my hand. And if I'm working, if I'm wood carving and I accidentally like slit my thumb open while I'm wood carving, I always put the blood on the wood I'm carving too. Fun tip. Accidental sacrifice. 81 people in here. So great to see everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see what we got here. Man, you guys just talk so much, and I love it. I'm losing track of everything. On patron gods, do you think we should choose them ourselves, or do they choose us? Still struggling to work out with who my patron is, from Corey Ewan or Awen. So with patron gods, this comes up a lot. So you don't need a patron god. Now, I think it's very common to take one, and it goes both ways. If you want a god in particular to be your patron, you may have to pursue them more. Like if you want Thor to be your patron, then you may need to run into some more thunderstorms and make yourself known, and then start making, and then contemplate making that oath, and then decide what is that oath going to give you, and what does it give that god. You don't have to rush into it. This is a lifelong religion, and you don't have to rush into a patron right away. And you may want to wait until a patron chooses you. I mean, it was very clear that Odin was, talking to me very early on, and then me and him had been working together for quite a while before I made the Wisdom of Odin, and so it just made sense. So it'll go both ways. Just don't feel bad if you don't feel that one god reaching out to you. It's okay. Not everyone needs a patron. It's a polytheistic religion. Worship as many gods as you'd like. Patrons usually are just like a discipline in a way, like a path. So take your time on it. You don't have to rush through it. Let's see here. That is sort of false. I haven't blooded my rune set yet, and they work perfectly fine. Okay. I mean, that's fine. You can work with them. I'm just saying that, I have a rune set that I haven't blooded, and it was a gift from a friend, and I've had good answers from him. I've been told by someone that has been doing this a lot longer than me, and someone that's very tied to the old ways, and they said you gotta use blood, and it's just one of those things where I know a lot of people don't, but that's just what I've learned from the old masters, is using blood is very important. Let's see here. Would you say new Pugans? Would you say new pagans shouldn't start a vlog channel until they know what they know, what they're doing, or does it not? Okay, so I made my YouTube channel 2 years into my faith, and I think it's a great thing to do. Now, not thinking that you are the bee's knees and not going out there on a pedestal thinking you're great and everything is very important. I think it's a great thing to learn, like going back and watching my first few episodes and seeing how much I've learned as a person, but also as a pagan, has been very important to me. And so I think it's a good thing, and I think vlogging is a good way to reach other people. So if you don't go into it with the mindset of like, I'm going to meet 1 million people and I'm going to become famous, like, yeah, vlog away. I think it's a great way to learn. Just know that, don't have an ego when you go into it. Know you're going into it to learn. Let's see. Have I used staves before? So as far as like magic staves or like glyphs, because I've been told not to use glyphs by the same person that taught me the runes. So like, are you referring to bind runes, or are you referring to like let me see here. So is this what you're referring to as far as staves, like these old magic symbols that terrify the crap out of me? Because I don't use these for the most part. Like, obviously I have a Veg of Seer on my arm, but that is about it. So yeah, let me see if I can scroll down when you answer me that. But if you're referring to these staves, then no, I don't use these for the most part. I have this book mostly, yes, magic staves, for example, yes. So the only one I have used is Veg of Seer as far as an actual stave. And this was really early on in my journey. I've definitely learned it, and I've respected it more, but I don't know if I fully comprehended it when I first got this tattoo a few years ago. But that is the only stave I have used. These terrify me. It's maybe something I'll pick up in the future. Runes are definitely something I'm focusing on now, but definitely staves are weird, man. And I think that's, something I really want to, let people know, is that you're not going to know everything going into this. And that's okay. Still working on that book. Yeah, so this book is weird, yo. Pugans! I hope that sticks to be a thing. I'm waiting to use blood until I make a blood oath at the gathering with my ring. It's a personal choice, man. Yeah, blood oaths is your personal choice. I think it's one of those, it's an old world thing, I think. I don't think most people in the new pagan movement aren't necessarily big on blood. And I think we're talking about animal sacrifice, like, at some point. And I think that's another personal thing. Like, I don't think you need to do it. If your group wants to do it and you can legally do it, then go for it. But I don't think it's something that we should necessarily push onto other people. What is a Pugin? Well, we're all Pugins deep down. I just picked an arm ring, and now I'm thinking about how I want to do my arm ring ceremony. Do you have any suggestions? So I think everyone's arm ring ceremony, oath ring ceremony, is going to be very different, depending on if you do it by yourself or if you do it in a group. So with mine, like when I actually moved on to my oath ring, like obviously I said this was my oath to Odin, was my my Volknut. But when I technically moved everything over to the oath ring, I basically just announced the god's presence, made sure they knew what this oath ring was, knew what it symbolized, talked about how important oaths are, made sure the terms of the oath were very clear, and then I did blood in my hand and like put it on the oath ring. Is how I did my oath ring ritual. But I know group oath rings are, tend to be a little bit less on one person. They'll move around the ring pretty quickly. So I think it's open for interpretation, but just with most rituals, summon the god, make sure they know why they're there. You give an offering, whether that's the blood of your hand or maybe some mead, and they know why that oath exists. Make sure you're very clear on that. Make sure you're very clear on the oath. What is my oath ring made of? It is pewter. So this was descended from Odin. I liked it because it was a nice quality while not being outrageously priced. I mean, I've seen some out there that are like $200 and $300. And while they're nice and beautiful, but I didn't want to spend that much on my oath ring. Let's see here. Man, you guys just talk so much. Like as I'm like talking, I can just see it like boop, 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 for the whole time. 95 people in here. Wonderful to see everyone. Let's see here. My grandmother was a vulva. Much wisdom for sure. Yeah, Scotty, I need to talk to you more about that. I'm sure you have some old wisdom in there, and I love it. I know some people who have had experiences with a Jotun. Have you ever had an experience with a Jotun? I'm trying to think. Not necessarily. I did. I mean, I gave an offering to Njord recently, and it was in research of Aegir and Ron, and they are sometimes considered Jotun, which is one of the fun parts about the video I made that did survive, and hopefully that one comes out Wednesday. But like Ron and Aegir are sometimes considered Jotun, but sometimes they are considered kind of mysterious gods, like they're older than other gods. Really interesting stuff. And I feel like I was trying to invoke them a little bit, but as far as like an actual Jotun experience, no. I know many people that worship Scotty, and so I think there's nothing wrong with it. I do think the Jotuns inside of mythos get a bad rep, but just as the Loki did. So I think they're a little bit more misunderstood. I'll explore it more in the future, but it's just the Jotuns aren't necessarily something I've seen move forward with it. Yeah, we do have a lot of Discord people in here. It's great to see. Oath rings were a symbol of fealty to the local lord and the gods and the general of the Viking Age. Yeah, and they still do it in Iceland too. They have like one big oath ring. It's like this big. It's huge, and they do like ceremonies with it. And they still do have like arm rings like we do now. For those that can't afford it, would a fan-made Discord be okay to make for fans of the channel? I don't have time to run another Discord. I don't think people realize that Discords are hard. They are a lot of work, so I don't really have time to make another Discord. There is Heathen Penthouse, which I know of. I know the owner pretty well, the Heathen Penthouse. A lot of people have gone there. And so I think it's a great option. But, truly, the reason I think the Wisdom of Odin Discord is doing well is because we've kind of, it's not a madhouse. We've organized it really well. A lot of time and work has been put into the Wisdom of Odin Discord. Hi, Jacob. Hello. So I'm a Celtic pagan, and my son started asking me about Thor, and I found your channel. Is it weird to have us on different paths? Not at all. I think, well, especially with, Celtic gods, because there are so many similarities, I think that we'll find that people that are Celtic pagans and Norse pagans and Germanic pagans, they're all going to find, common ground in a lot of things. I don't want to become too, I don't have any problems with other pagans like Egyptian pagans or anything like that. It's just I tend to have my rituals focused purely towards Norse gods. I don't mind if Celtic pagans come and enjoy the gatherings, but there is a moment where I'm like, look, this is for the Norse gods. At the end of the day, I am a Norse pagan. I am into these old gods necessarily, but I have no problems with other gods, and I think they intermingle pretty fine. I've not heard of any negative experiences of people, in various households worshiping, like having a Celtic spouse and a Norse pagan spouse. But then we see the differences between Norse pagan and Christian spouses. There definitely seems to be some conflict. Let's see here. I can't have Facebook. No one should have Facebook. Is it okay to give an impromptu offering, like running out in the rain to give beer to Thor without an altar or anything? All the time. I think I have a couple, like one of my Thor videos is just me running out there and dumping a beer in the ground. So I think impromptu offerings are great. I think when we feel the presence of the gods, even without altars, I think they're a really great thing to do. I think it really encaptures the moment. Let's see. What if we made a subreddit for this community? I'd be down to be a moderator and take care of everything down. So I think these ideas are great. I just can't necessarily tie my name to things right now, for various reasons. But, I'm very analytical when it comes to putting the Wisdom of Odin, the name to things now that I can't do to the best of my ability. It's not that I don't trust people. It's just the fact that whenever I do something, I want to make sure I put everything I know behind it and I do it well. So the podcast is something that I started 3 weeks ago, and it's something that now I'm focusing a lot of time onto, while also producing 3 videos, while also, trying to do these live streams, while also trying to make Patreon a good community, while also running Instagram. So there's a lot. And, so running, I can't really put my name behind anything else right now. At the moment I have time or the ability to, or have good ideas, I will gladly go to another community. But I know Reddit's already has a heathen and Norse pagan community out there, and I know I've talked to a few people that have that run the heathen community out there, and it seems to be doing pretty good. Hi, do you think paganism is a good path for someone who works at a very demanding job? Is set into a routine required to practice paganism? Is a set routine required? I don't think a set routine is required. I know some people that do daily prayers, but I find that this fits into a lifestyle that is very busy, because it's a great way to escape. It's a great way to find yourself. When you do feel too busy in life, running out into nature, when you do get a minute, is a really great way to reconnect. This coming from a guy that worked 65 to 70 hours a week in the restaurant business, when I did find time to escape, it was really nice knowing that I can go into nature and have a really, truly spiritual connection. Because I think having church on Sundays, like knowing that you have to work all week and then go to church on Sunday, you're like, oh, I don't want to go to church. I barely have free time as it is. So really, this path is here for you when you have time for it. Now, it is a discipline, and if you want more out of it, you do have to put more time into it. But I do think even if you live a busy lifestyle, this religion can be quite rewarding. Hi, Jacob. Just wondering what breeds of cat I have. Do cats have breeds? She's a cat. She was a stray. American short-haired, I guess. Like, I don't know. I know there's Tabby. I know she's not a Tabby. She's cute. That's all I need to know. Let's see here. Yeah, lots of really great questions in here. I like to know how you feel about the folkish oldness and exclusionary pagans too. I mean, this comes up all the time. I'll say it here just so it's said again, because I feel like I just need to say it sometimes. I'm inclusive in the sense that I don't really care what your skin color is. I don't care what your sexuality is. If you come to my gathering, you are honorable and respectable to the folk and the gods. You are welcome in my hall. You are welcome to give to the gods and celebrate with the folk. But I judge everyone on their honor and their reputation and their respectability. And there are people on every side of the planet that are just terrible people. And so I think that we give a lot of weight to being inclusive, and we forget that just because someone is inclusive does not mean that they can't be an asshole. And so I think that's something we have to watch out for as community. So you won't see me on a platform necessarily shouting my beliefs, just because, I don't think you're entitled to my political beliefs, but you should know that I think this religion is for anyone that the gods call to. However, this religion is hard. It requires work, and it's not going to be for everyone. Like when I say like, oh yeah, this religion's the gods don't care about your skin color, but the gods demand a lot from you, and this religion demands a lot from you. So I don't think it's for everyone in that sense, and that makes sense. I'm not saying it's not. Whatever, like it's whatever. Just come worship the gods. Get that stick out of your ass. I definitely follow like the Crawford model. Crawford's very quiet on his political and everything else beliefs. And I feel the same way, just know I'm not a Nazi, and, let's just worship the gods together. That's what should matter. Hey, Jacob, I'm very new to Norse paganism. And one question, I can't drink and it feels like the gods wouldn't accept me because of that. What do you think? The gods don't care if you drink. I feel like I have to keep moving my head because on my phone, the comments come here. So I feel like you can't see me, but whatever. So the gods don't really care if you drink. I think drinking is a great way to connect with the folk, connect with the gods. However, you don't necessarily need to drink to be a part of this faith. I have said in the past, if it's an age thing and you can't give to the gods alcohol, give them ciders, teas, things like that. But yeah, you don't necessarily have to drink to be a part of this faith. I just think it's fun. I don't necessarily want to promote an alcoholic culture, but I do think alcohol is a way for people to bond with the gods and with their folk. Let's see. Hey, Jacob, I run the follower of Odin account. I want to say how much of an inspiration you find. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Jacob, what are your views on Aerith? I forget his height. Is it Hager? And Survive the Jive. I think I've watched like one video from both of them. I have not much of an opinion. I know both of them have good information, but I make Norse Pagan content, so for the most part, I don't watch Norse Pagan content. When my main videos on YouTube are Steve 1989, who opens old MREs and eats them, is LA Beast, Skippy 69able or 6 doable, who does like eating competitions and phone reviews. That's what I watch on YouTube. I get most of my information from books. If I can't get them from books, I watch other videos to give me the books, and then I go read those books, is how I usually do things. Let's see. Braggy approves the drinking. Yes, until you light fires in your own home. I have a friend who is 4 years sober. He uses apple ciders for offerings. Yeah. So that's something that's been an interesting development as this community has grown and as, more people come under the Wisdom of Odin gatherings and stuff like that. Like I had someone reach out to me and they're like, hey, I have a drinking problem. I don't know if I can come to a gathering. Will you have alcohol? I'm like, yeah, sadly I will. Like, it's not like I want to just exclude people that don't drink. So it's definitely a wake-up call where it's like, that is something we have to deal with. One day we will have someone that has a drinking problem, that I know very closely. And it's like, look, I can't drink at these gatherings, or, this is promoting my drinking culture. So it's something that I'm really considering. I want to promote a healthy, moderation. The Have 'Em All is really big on moderation, and I respect that. And I think we need to honor that ourselves as well. 91 people in here. It's called to that. Hydration. So many books. Yes, read books. Remember when Mr. Beast ate 2 cactuses? I'm pretty sure I've seen every LA Beast video, and I love that dude so much. I think he's honestly a really good YouTube inspiration, because even though he has like 1 million, 2 million subscribers, he still films his videos in his house. He doesn't have a fancy studio, and for the most part, it is just him eating an egregious amount of food, something really old, something really gross, or something really weird, and he usually throws up, and I find it entertaining. Hey, Jacob, how do you interpret Norse cosmology? Do you think we're more literal or metaphorical stance? So actually, my last live stream went into my views on this a little bit. I think it's really fascinating. I think the beauty of Norse paganism is that when you start comparing it to science, it makes more sense. They talked about a shield that protects us from the sun. It's like, do they know about the ozone? Do they know about the atmosphere? The 9 realms. We have 9 celestial bodies in our solar system. What are the gods? If we can feel Earth, can we feel Jupiter? Is Jupiter a god? Is the moons of Jupiter a god? I think there's a lot of really great questions out there. It's great to theorize on, and it's hard to actually pinpoint. But I really do think that science and Norse and paganism in general really find a lot of things to interact with, and it's really cool. What are the best books for studying runes? The book I have are just the basic meanings. So look for my video. Hopefully next week at this point, we'll be answering a lot of rune questions. It'll be my community questions on the runes. And the person that taught me the runes, she's very secretive, but we're trying to figure out how to describe her. It's so hard not to say it in a way that doesn't sound weird, but she's taught me so much. It was a very magical how we met. It was just fate made us meet, and it's amazing. She's taught me so much from the old world. So she's actually answered most of these questions on the runes. So all the questions will be answered by her. I'm just the voice for them. She wanted to help the community. She wanted to give back. So we're answering a lot of rune questions. And she gave me a list of like 10 rune books to share. So, and a lot of these I've never heard of. So I can't wait to make this video. I can't wait to share it with everyone. I know we're both excited, both anxious, but she has a lot of really cool answers. Let's see here. Will you do an updated book video where there is more books and reliable sources for info? Yeah, so the last time I did a book video was in January. I've probably added 3 books to my library since then. So it's one of those things where I didn't really want to do, a whole thing on it. I probably have in total 20 Norse Pagan books specifically like on the subject. I have 2 more coming this week. I have a rune book coming this week, and I finally I'm getting my own prose edit copy. So what I think I'm going to do is do an updated one where basically I just have all of my books piled high, and I'm like, boom, look at these books and see how, and just look how important books are, because books are so important to this faith. If there's one thing I think, if someone's like, what's one thing you can't be without in Norse paganism, it's probably books. Like you need to have books to understand this faith completely, and multiple sources on everything. And I think I bring that up in the last podcast episode on advice for people getting into the faith is don't just get one book, get multiple books, because there's so many differing opinions and misinformation out there that the more books you have on the subject, the better your information will be. So hopefully I'll have rune information books for you too. Let's see here. Are there any pagan books that talk specifically about special days for this religion? There are, but there's no first-party sources. From my understanding, there's no books that were written near the era about it. A lot of it comes afterwards. So this has actually been something I've been going back and forth in my head about for a while, is should I do an updated holiday video? Because technically, the video I did on holidays is on the solar calendar holidays, which are different than the holidays the actual ancestors worshipped, because they were on a lunar calendar, which is different than what we do now. However, we're not on a lunar calendar now, so it makes more sense to be on a solar calendar. It's one of those weird things where it's like modern paganism, I think, should be off a solar calendar, because otherwise it's just weird for the modern world we live in. It's easier for jobs. Like obviously getting Yule days off is a lot easier if it's near Christmas, rather than having Yule in January. It's just one of those things where I do think that the solar calendar makes more sense now. But as far as in book, to get back to that, I don't know of any particular book that is one. I don't even think, the only book I think I have on the holidays is Practical Heathen's Guide to Asatru, and I just don't like that book. So as I find more, I'll definitely talk about it. And, now I know there's a gap, hopefully I can find more. But for the most part, I think they're mostly modern written books. Let's see here. Yes, the lady described in the Offering Fruit video. That is correct. Let's see here. This is funny. This has come up twice now. Are you dating another pagan? Would you date someone who wasn't a pagan? So I have been single fully since about a year ago. Me and my ex broke up in September, partially for, relationship differences. It was a relatively healthy breakup. But also because I was pursuing this path fully. It was like, no, this is my life now. Like, unless you're acceptable, like, unless you realize that I am, we were together for 2 years. It was like, and, while I've been practicing a pagan, I wasn't like the Wisdom of Odin. And so as this became more prominent, it was definitely like, look, this is my life now. Like, if you really don't want to support that, we really can't be together. And so I did end up ending that relationship for multiple reasons. But one of them was for this faith in this, in the Wisdom of Odin. And so I've been pretty single ever since then. I've had a few dates and a few things here and there with people that weren't in the religion. So I've had 3 things happen. 1, they think I'm crazy for following this path. 2, they start getting really weird about it, and they're like they claim they're, there was one, like, basically was like, look, I'm not really into anything serious. You're not a pagan, whatever. And then she started, like, acting pagan, but she wasn't pagan. It was weird. Dating as a pagan, dating as the Wisdom of Odin is very weird. So I've maintained a single life for the most part. I figured, the gods will, show us, whoever I'm supposed to marry in the future will show us together at some point. And we'll see how that goes from there. Are you excited for the full moon tomorrow? Oh gosh, yeah, feeling that full moon energy. So I actually, I went up to the mountains and camped in the mountains for 24 hours. this last weekend, and I sat in the middle of a river, like literally knee deep in water, like standing there in the middle of the pitch black night as like mist rolled over the mountains and the moon was right there, and it really absorbed that good full moon energy. So yeah, I'm excited. Let's see here. Can you talk about Fenrir, but you shouldn't take that. You can talk to Fenrir, but you shouldn't take that lightly. His energy is very intense, and his lessons won't suit everyone. I think you're talking to someone else about that, but I don't have any opinions on Fenrir. I've never tried to reach out. The only really old thing I've tried to reach out to is the old Ironwood, because I've read about that a few times, and I've definitely felt something that's like the old Ironwood. But that's as far as the oldest deep presence I've tried to reach out to. Can you do a video talking about pagan weddings? From Raul. So obviously I have performed one pagan wedding. I had another one lined up for November, but obviously COVID hit, kind of ruined everything. Perhaps, I don't know if I have enough information to talk solely on pagan weddings. Perhaps when I get more under my belt. Like when I did my research online, when I was actually preparing for the pagan wedding I did, it was very hard to find proper information. I found 2 videos that showed one, and they're really poorly recorded. So perhaps I'll do another one here in the future. Or actually do one myself. Would younger people such as teens be allowed to come to gatherings? No. Not until we get more, maybe more formalized. So as far as that goes, there's so much legal red tape into like non-adults coming to a gathering, let alone people under the age of 21, because there is alcohol, and like we're not exactly the best at making sure that someone's not drinking, that they're like, I'm not saying it's happened for anyone watching, but at the same time, I think it's just safer for us legally if we maintain it, for the most part, adults only, and even better if most people are above the age of 21. We obviously want to, encourage people to bring their children at some point. We're preparing for that. But that's a whole nother beast. It's just like, who's going to take care of the kids during ritual? There's a lot of things to consider. We're trying not to rush into things. I think that's a thing that's happened to a lot of people. As they have created groups and formed, as they don't think about these things and they just rush into it. All of a sudden you have teenagers and kids and alcohol, and then you have someone, flopping out some cocaine, and it's like, whoa, what's happening? This is, whoa, and they kind of capitulate. So we're taking things very cautiously each step. So we do want to add children at some point, but honestly, we'll probably add, hey, so-and-so wants to bring 3 kids, they're their responsibility. That'll probably happen long before we can let a solo teenager non-adult come. I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing. That's just a huge legal nightmare. 21 and 2 months, baby. Holla! 21's great. I actually didn't drink much until I turned 21. I don't drink much now, actually. So one of the things that was on the Lost podcast, and I see you 89 people, you lovely people, you. Thank you for joining. So one of the things that was on the Lost podcast that I recorded with Stiger Ash, Jason, the Wandering Yggdrasil, we talked about how with Odin and Odin worshippers, it seems like you don't want to be drunk or high because even in the Havamal it says you shouldn't alter your state of mind. And I do feel like that, I don't get drunk, or I don't want to get drunk, or I don't want to get high very often, just because it does, I feel like it doesn't allow you to connect or have natural connections to the gods and to the divine. I prefer to keep a very clear mind when having religious experiences. And since like most of my time nowadays, just to try to have religious experiences, then yeah, I really don't want to get drunk or anything like that too often. Yeah, like, I used to be a pretty big stoner back in the day, like roll up the head, play some Minecraft for like 18 hours, do this number, lean back. Yeah, those were the days. I love those days. I mean, I was 18 once, I had a good time. Smoked my fair share, but at the same time, as I've gotten mature in my age of 26, and definitely down this path, I've just learned that I just don't like clouding my mind and clouding my judgment. I think, one, weed should be definitely legal. 2, I think it's one of those things that when you start getting more on your plate in life, it's harder to smoke weed. And just at this point, it's so hard for me to do what I do and smoke weed at the same time. It affects everyone differently. Side note, when I saw Wardrina last October in Colorado, was I blasted. That's why I didn't record a video the whole time. I was gone. When you go to Colorado, yeah, still do it. Where are your gatherings held close to Virginia? So right now, every gathering's been held in Kentucky. Not necessarily because I've tried. We've looked in Tennessee, North Carolina, Ohio, basically everything around Kentucky. And it's just we've never found the place with the right amount of people for the right price. We're breaking off everything. So by Ostara next year, I've said this before, we'll have 6 to 7 gatherings all at once across the country. And by that time, I don't know if Kentucky ones will just be in Kentucky, because we're kind of the way of everything is organized right now. It's Kentucky and Tennessee are in the same group. So it looks like we'll be doing stuff, and then there's a North Carolina group probably eventually. There's a Southern group, there's an Eastern group, there's a Midwest group, there's a Texas group, and then a West Coast group. So we have a lot of moving pieces out there. And as I said, just because you're not part of Patreon doesn't mean you won't get to be a part of those gatherings. Those will have their own ritual leaders. They have their own, administrators. Like those all are going to be self-sufficient and run by those operators. When they are ready, they will announce them. But if you want to be a part of the planning process is happening on the Patreon exclusive Discord. Shrooms are decriminalized in Denver. Yes, so decriminalization means they're not going to get busted for it, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can buy it from a store, from what I understand. I've only done shrooms once. It was amazing, but also that's a long chunk of your life to be tied up into mushrooms. What group is in Indiana? And so Indiana is part of, we have a Midwest group. It's kind of stationed out of Illinois for the most part right now. They're actually having a get together. I think it's all filled up. Like they filled it up pretty quick. They're having one right after our fall gathering in October. So yeah, we have a lot of Indiana people actually. We probably have close to 20 just in the Indiana area. It's getting pretty crazy how many people we know. An Oklahoma group. I think we know someone. Yeah, we have an Oklahoma person. I want to hear from my friend who has written about it. I love how there's this side conversations happening on here. I love it. Yeah, please link up. Why doesn't Odin interfere with the world? Or does he? That's the thing. Like in the past, Odin interfered with things, but he wants war in a way, and that's hard to say if that's what he wants now. But the world isn't perfect. World peace, do you think an objective of the gods is world peace? Do you think an objective of the gods is, less hunger, less starvation, no disease? Like these aren't really the gods' concerns, disease, hunger, famine, global disasters. These are all part of the planet. That's the planet we live on. This has been happening since the dawn of time. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about paganism is they don't deny that. The gods don't deny those things exist. It's just how do you live in a world where those things happen? And I think that's one of the greatest, horrible things of Christianity. They want you to feel like that, oh, maybe there can be world peace and there's no starving children and whatnot. But quite frankly, those are lies. Those things will always happen. And I would rather have a faith tell me those things are always going to happen. And this is how you live a good life and how you make a difference with what you have, rather than spoon-feeding you these lies that will never happen. Jacob, you were a former Buddhist. What's the difference between Buddha's wisdom and Odin's? Very similar. So I think that's why I found a lot of connections and why I actually know a lot of people that came from Buddhism or Shintoism into this religion. Is you read the Have 'em All and you read writings from the Dalai Lama, or you read some Buddhist writings or Shintoism writings. They're very similar. So I think there's a lot of connections between the two. And it's even said, I've said in the past that you compare, even Hilmar Himmlerson has said, this religion is more similar to, Shintoism or animistic religions than it is to monotheism. So I do think there's a lot of connections between the East and Norse paganism. Let's see here. Jacob, would Idun be a good goddess to follow for nursing? She's the only one you can give the apples to the gods and goddesses. So Idun would be good, but also, is it Eir or Air? Like Eirh? Eihr? She's one of the maidens, shield maidens, or Valkyries, I believe. I don't know much about her. I don't think there's much written about her, but there is a Valkyrie / shield maiden / goddess of healing. Someone might be able to help you out. I don't know more. I don't know a lot about it. I just know there is another goddess figure of healing. Eir. Yeah. So yeah, I think Idun would be good, but I do think there's a specific deity for healing. I love that the Norse gods are fallible in the same way humans are fallible. Yeah, no, I think that's one of the things I love. It even says like the gods are not immortal; like they live off those apples. Those gods, those apples keep them young and alive. You know, without those, they wouldn't be around. And even like Thor's strength is given to him by his belt. Even Odin's wisdom was gained through drinking from the well and and hanging himself. Like there's tangible things that are behind the powers of the gods, and I love that. I was like, man, I almost caught up, and then I scrolled down. Would Freya be a good deity to work with for self-confidence and body image? I'm not sure. I don't know if I picture Freya as the self-confidence and body image person as much as I would picture as almost, like, I don't want to say Valley Girl, but I almost a little bit more feminine, like very far feminine side. I don't know. I don't know if she's the one. I'm not a Freya worshiper, but from what I know from the readings and from what I heard, don't know if she's the one. Maybe one more like Scotty, where it's like she is like, just look, I'm a woman of the mountains. Like I feel like Scotty would be better for that. Because Freya doesn't have like necessarily a great image in the Poetic Edda, and we were just reading Locusina, and she's basically just labeled a whore. Like that's basically her thing. That's what she's labeled as, and it sucks. And I want to know more about her. Like she definitely has more history than we actually have written down. There's definitely people out there that have worshipped her for longer than, I mean, I don't even worship her, so they know more. Scotty, yeah, I think Scotty. I love all these people in here that actually know people. I felt Hel reaching out to me, and I keep seeing her in my dreams. Always the same thing. She's standing in a tree line. So yeah, I've heard good things about Hel worship. Obviously, I do the podcast with Ian, who is a Hel. She's his matron, and I've heard good things. And I definitely I felt her presence before without necessarily reaching out. I do know she's a little clingy. Like she tends to be, like, look, I'm your matron now. So I, just cautious, but I've heard great things. Is there any god I'm afraid to work with? I am cautious of Loki. I have given to Loki before, I think twice. More as an acknowledgement, like acknowledging his chaos. Oh, we need one more person for 100. Come on, let's give 100. We're so close. So yeah, I think I'm a little cautious of Loki worship for sure. I definitely don't think he's as far as the devil, as I've said in the past, but I'm definitely cautious of inviting chaos in my home. I don't necessarily, Tyr and me have a strange relationship. Like I've given an offering to Tyr before, but I feel like it's more of like just acknowledging each other's existence, a good working relationship. But I wouldn't call it fear necessarily. It's just, I don't necessarily reach out to him much, and I don't feel like we necessarily hate each other. It's just, I don't know. I don't think we necessarily want to work with each other. It's weird. The gods are weird, aren't they? Like the fact that we know these things from just these interactions. So much fun. I love this faith. Very cautious with Tyr. Yeah, I feel like a lot of Odin people are cautious with Tyr. It's not necessarily written down they have beef, but there's I think it's hinted that they have beef. I really love in Norse paganism the gods are far more relatable and understandable than the Christian God that knows everything, that knows and is everything. I think that's why I love the gods too, because they're not perfect. We're not perfect, so it's much easier to relate to them than this all-powerful, perfect being. Oh my gosh, I'm finally caught up. I'm sure I've missed 100 different things. I will probably let this extend over maybe 15 minutes, mostly because I do have to eat, but we've been having some really good conversations. But I want to take this time, this very last bit, just to kind of reflect a little bit on the full-time YouTuber thing. It's definitely been a really amazing experience. First off, I want to thank everyone who does support me on Patreon. I mean, obviously, this wouldn't be possible without you all. I do still intend to keep this entire channel completely ad-free from YouTube, just because I don't trust YouTube for the most part. And I just wanted this to maintain its own, look, the Wisdom of Odin is its own thing. It doesn't need YouTube to survive, even though we're watching this on YouTube. But there are a lot of amazing projects in the work. I think, there's a lot of projects that would already be revealed / working on / completed if it wasn't for the current global crisis, climate, whatever you want to say. But COVID has stopped a lot of things. A lot of projects are still in the works. Like the book project, like the Folk Saga, is still a thing that is happening. It's been slowed down just because of distribution. and a few other things. So the book, like that book is still happening. I'm planning on a few larger projects, but like I'm planning a project in Switzerland, but at the same time, I can't go to Switzerland right now to actually do it. So there's some really amazing things in the work. I have so many cool ideas to share with you, and the moment I can share them with you, I can't wait. But this is changing every day. Every morning I wake up and I just realize, like, look, this is my life now. So I'm really excited to be able to continue to make videos, continue to make this podcast. 105, we made it there. Thank you to everyone that's joined in. 45 likes already. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers that do live streams and they don't get this many interactions, even with a lot more following basis. So I'm so honored to talk to everybody. And I mean, it's beautiful. I love doing these. It's like the YouTube premieres. I don't want to do them all the time. I don't want them to lose their luster, but it's been great. Thank you for everyone that watched The Gift live. I know the directors loved it. The directors were there. Mikanis was there. They all watched your comments. They loved it. They're so happy. That video, on their own YouTube only got 200 views in a year. On the Wisdom of Odin, it's already well over 1,200 views. So, they've gotten 1,000 more views than they would have before, and they got a true premiere for it. They put so much work into that, and I'm just so happy for them. Thank you. Thank you for everyone, all your kind words. It's hard. I'm finding it really hard as a YouTuber sometimes to sit back and really absorb everything. But at the end of the day, I receive so many comments and, saying how much I've helped people on their path. At the end of the day, I'm still on my path. I'm still learning. But the fact that I've been able to help people just by recording my journey, just by sharing what I've learned, I'm not perfect. No one is. And I'm so honored to be able to help so many people. So if I've helped you on your path, I'm so honored. Thank you. It's definitely, even with all this free time, it's hard to get back to all the messages. I think I have 24 message requests right now still. I try to get to as many as I can, and it's hard, but I'm just seeing this community. I've seen people have conversations in here. Discord still is going crazy. Instagram is always popping around. There's so many pagan accounts that never existed before the Wisdom of Odin did, and I'm just so honored that there's all of this around us. For a second, I saw Jesus, and I'm like, who said that? But then I saw it was you, Daniel, and I was like, yeah, we're probably okay. Who missed the like button? No, yeah. I feel like we always end up on the dislike thing on the end of videos and stuff. I don't know who's out there, whatever. My Norse Pagan journey, you've been putting out some good videos, man. People go check them out. Jesus missed the like button. Yeah, it's probably Jesus. Ironically, the one dislike maybe like the button. Oh, man. No, it's such... the fact that... what is it? Where to Begin with Asatru is my most popular video, nearing 20,000 views in total, which is crazy, considering that was like my 4th or 5th video. I'm so happy. It feels almost outdated. I feel like I need to update it, but it's been skyrocketing. It gets like almost 300 views a day at this point, and that's something I left with people when I went camping. I'm like, look, 300 people a day. YouTube search Asatru, Norse paganism, or the gods, and they watch that video. And that's considering maybe the algorithm doesn't even let me have full control yet because the algorithm is weird. Maybe I need to get an offering to the algorithm gods. The YouTube algorithm demon. But yeah, so that's 300 people a day on average on my channel alone that are curious about the gods. And that's just crazy that there's this much, to go out there. And the fact that every time I leave the house, it seems like I'm running into more people that are curious about it. This faith is really growing at an exponential rate. It's something I talk about with my coworkers in a way, the people I collaborate with, the other YouTubers I work with, the people that, I work with on the regular. We're really impressed how this community is growing, and we have some really exciting things. And I can't wait to talk about them, hopefully, by the end of the month. By the end of September. It's almost September. Let's see if I've missed anything. But, my last bit here for the, just monologue before I just go back to questions until we close out. If you made it this far and you're just watching it, thank you for, coming back, watching this live stream. They're long, but at the same time, I'm so excited to answer these questions because I think I lose track that, when the Discord is going all day, even though I'm in there. There's so many people on here on YouTube I don't get to interact with. So to every single one of you, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for interacting, having these conversations. We really have an amazing community. And it's so great to see. Also, September, it's the 1st now. No, it's the 31st now, actually, as far as I know. Unless you're in a different time zone. Long, it felt like it started 5 minutes ago. Shoot, someone asked me, they're like, can you make the podcast like 3 hours long? I'm like, are you crazy? Because that means I have to listen to it again. These live streams are great because as soon as I hit end, it just kind of uploads on its own. But those podcasts, it's like I record the 3-hour podcast and then I'd have to edit the 3-hour podcast and then like listen through it several times. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm flattered people will listen to us talk that long. It's been great having co-hosts, though, to be able to, have someone else, bounce ideas off of in these conversations. So I'm excited to see the podcast continue to grow. What's the name of the podcast? It is the Folk Saga. Let's see if I can pull it up. The Folk Saga podcast. And I'll throw it in the chat if I can get it to pull up. It is on my Instagram. My Instagram does have weird. No, it's all on my Instagram. It has a link tree for everything. It's just the Folk Podcast. Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Music have it. If you search the Folk Podcast, you should be able to find it. It's not the Wisdom of Odin on Podbean. It's Folk Podcast. It's technically like I think the creator is the Wisdom of Odin, so maybe you should be able to find it that way. One thing is stop having division from society when we are part of society. Yeah, I think if I understand that correctly, it's, for me, it's removing that taboo, is making society realize we're not those, we're kind of those forest mountain people, but at the same time, we're among you. We are just, I used to work at a car lot. I know so many people that just have normal jobs, UPS workers, fast food workers, restaurant workers, factory workers. And I mean, we're not these crazy, people, we're just people, but at the same time, we have this really spiritual connection. And I think it terrifies people. Found it by searching for the Wisdom of Odin. Cool. On Podbean. So you can search the Wisdom of Odin and find it. But I do think that's, one of the things that's really crazy about this faith is that I think we scare people because they've been raised Christian for so long and they don't have these religious experiences with God. And then here's us and we can just go in the woods and have a religious experience whenever we want. And we have so many different avenues for it. So it's really cool. And I think we're really getting a wonderful community. You're my favorite grandson. I see you, babushka. Oh man, the grandmother lives on. A pagan bank worker, we are here, we are everywhere. Like we're all gonna like V for Vendetta and like all put on like a Loki mask or something like that at some point and get all V for Vendetta. Man, so the census has been trying to track me down because I haven't done the census yet. And I don't know if it's because I'm probably flagged somewhere from that package from Russia I got, but they arrive at my door almost daily at this point. And like I'm almost like peaceful protesting in a way because like every time they do it I'm like, look, I don't want to fill it out because I can't put my religion on there. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm not one of the religions you can put on the census, so I don't really want to fill it out. I don't know if that's going to lead to problems or they're going to force me to do it eventually, but I really hate that we don't have a good way to see how many pagans there are. We can do rough guess, but just having other as an option on the census is just not a good way to find out how many of this there are. And I hope one day that is an option to see how many pagans are out there. Oh man, we're just on a totally different. You guys are just talking. I'll just sit here and sip my delicious water. Read the Sorcerer's Screed. Never mind. I don't want to read the Sorcerer's Screed. Mechanus, what's up? I'm convinced you don't sleep now. What time is it there? What time is it in the Faroe Islands? Lords. That's some good water. Yeah, so 16-bit, some little. So this was full of alcohol at some point. You go to 16-bit, it's an arcade bar, and they fill this up with booze, and then you get to keep the cup. Amazing. Love that place. Oh, that's not too late. That's not too bad. Is there a Ragnarok before the Big Bang? Depends if you believe in the Big Bang or not. I feel like the Big Bang is just a way for astronomers to just like explain space because they don't really understand it. I'm not discounting the Big Bang, but I just don't think we fully can even fathom the beginning and the end of the universe. I don't know. And again, is Ragnarok a universal scale, or is Ragnarok a planetary scale or a solar system scale? Like, what does the end mean? I mean, the end here in our solar system doesn't mean the end for anywhere else. Let's see here. I won in a giveaway from the Sorcerer's Creed is my choice from the giveaway. Yeah, Sorcerer's Creed is whack, especially when it's just like you need to get the blood from the mammary gland of a cow or something like that. These are wild, and it's like you mean, what's the first page here? Written by Skoogie. Yeah, like you see this, and you're like, what are these writings of a madman? Whack. It's a cool book, though. It looks good, but yeah, no, it's wild. So yeah, I'm going to close this out here in just a minute. If you guys have any last questions for me, again, the thing I love, it seems like you guys are just talking at this, the memory gland, yeah. So if there's anything you guys want to ask me, this is your time. Otherwise, I am going to close this out here soon. Thank you all so much for coming here. I see so many people I know, so many people I haven't talked to, and it's just great to see everyone. Grey Wolf, it is good to see you here. Do you speak any other language? Je parle français. And I'm learning some German. Like, I'm to the point where I can apparently get a hotel room, but that's it. But yeah, no. Je dois la langue française. Thank you for having me, my son. Babushka. A good book to recommend. Okay. I'm trying to think if I have any books that I haven't talked about yet. I talked about Germania, Wanderers Out of them all. If you haven't yet, again, I think a great book I haven't talked about in a while is The Soul in the North. Here's my original transcript from The Soul in the North when I got to read it before everyone else did. So if you haven't got The Soul of the North yet, I think it's a great book. Again, it's really cheap. I think it's great if you haven't checked it out yet. Is I think the best. Actually, one of the books. Oh yeah, Eagle Saga. I don't have it in here with me. I'm reading Eagle Saga. But I'm also reading about bushcrafting. Is the thing I'm reading right now because I do want to get more outdoorsy. Past weekend was part of that step. Is I wanted to start actually going outdoors more, living off the land a little bit. So I'm getting into bushcraft a little bit more. Let's see here. Hey, do you think you'll do another dramatic reading? Maybe the prose Edda? So yeah, that's one of the reasons I got the prose Edda was to do another dramatic reading. I just did Locust in it. I didn't do the voices, but I recorded around a campfire 4 people reading Locust in it. So I may actually put that up as a video depending on how it turned out. But again, I haven't been able to edit that yet because of my laptop. So yeah, I think I may put up Locust in it. I do want to do, I feel like everyone does the Havamal. I feel like the Havamal has been beat with it's the dead horse that keeps on getting beat because it is a great reading. It is a long reading. I think it takes like 45 minutes to read it aloud. But I feel like every Norse Pagan YouTuber has done like an intense Havamal. It's a great thing to fall back to if you don't have any content. Is you go back to the Havamal and just start reading the lines. It's great, but I just don't know if I want to read it necessarily. It's a great book. Yeah, I can't. If you guys have any suggestions for the Poetic Edda, I'd love to hear your suggestions for what stories you would like read from the Poetic Edda. I forget the name of it, but it's the one where Thor is arguing with Riddleweaver, I think. I wanted to do that one. I want to do Harvest the Old. But I kind of want to start like bringing other people into them, so it's not just me, especially with the dialogue ones, where like Harvest the Old, having someone else read the parts of Thor or Odin, and I'll read the other ones. So I'm trying to get a little bit more creative with them. Any info on where you're moving? So my moving is up in the air. At first, I thought it would happen this year. It may not happen till the spring, but it's definitely happening soon. Being a full-time YouTuber has allowed me to be a little bit more mobile, so I don't necessarily need to move right away. But that's kind of the beauty of it. Like I said, I got these projects planned in Switzerland and in Germany. And as soon as COVID allows me to actually travel, I'm going to start working on those. And that's the cool thing is I can work remote. Basically, it's got to pay for the plane ticket. And I know a few people in a lot of areas that would actually let me stay with them. So hopefully those projects start getting off the ground soon. Read about Thor cross-dressing. Everyone talks about Thor cross-dressing. Everyone thinks it's just hilarious when he dresses like a lady. I always rather do that as a play more than an actual reading. Are you planning on upgrading mics and stuff for the sound quality of the podcast? I have trouble with hearing, so it'd be nice. So if I didn't have to just spend $3,000 on a new laptop, I would. Just straight up, I did not expect to have to spend that much money on a laptop today of all days. And so I would have loved to upgrade my audio equipment. Now, a lot of it is just because we record through Skype, just because we're not around each other. So I do try to monkey with the audio as best I can. But I'm doing what I can with what I got, and I hope to upgrade the audio equipment. But yeah, no, I don't think I have any more. And I just had to fix my drone. I get my drone back on Wednesday. It had broken, and so I've spent as much Wisdom of Odin on technology money as possible for the rest of the year, I feel like, especially with that laptop. Let's see here. Yep, I'm going to close it out here soon, see if I can get any last questions in here. Read it in a wedding dress. Why did Odin still not destroy Muslim or Christianity? Because I don't think it's really his job to destroy it. I think the old folk, I think the ancestors let down the gods. They let greed and power overtake their need for community and wealth. I mean, community and relationship with the gods. And so I don't think it's Odin that failed at taking down Muslim or Christianity. I think we failed the gods in the past by choosing, because that's why they chose Christianity for power, because it is much easier to control people as a Christian. It's much easier to control people as a Muslim. You cannot, paganism is a free man's religion. So I think, we let the gods down. That's how I feel. Rune book for beginners. Let's see if I still have it here. So I think a good reference book, it doesn't necessarily teach you divination and stuff, but I do like this book. I've mentioned it in the past. Runes, the Icelandic Book of Futhark, great book. It came from some company that made this. It's just really easy to understand the basics of the runes, but I will be doing a rune video hopefully next week, and I'll be giving lots of great rune tips as well as rune books. What is the difference between Norse and Germanic paganism? Barely anything. If anything, Norse paganism is a little newer. It's slightly different than Germanic paganism, slightly different names, slightly different stories, but for the most part, they're about the same. Did Ragnarok happen? I did a great video on that. I did an entire video on Ragnarok. I believe Ragnarok did happen, and we are in the recycle of it. So we may be in the Ragnarok of a different age, where it's like, it definitely seems like the age in which we're living in is kind of like crumbling a little bit. But at the same time, I think we're on the upper end of that. I think paganism is a return. We're returning to something really cool. So I do think we're on the really exciting side of history, at least in this new Ragnarok, if that's what's truly happening. Let's see, lots of Ragnarok talk. Yeah, we're on Ragnarok now. So I'm seeing if there's anything left here, but I think we are about over. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end this. So for all 83 of you who have sat through all this, and for, we reached 105 at one point, and for everyone that watches this afterwards, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, and I'm really excited for this community. The fact that we even have community in these live streams for these hour 15-minute long events, where it seems like it's not just me having a conversation with one person; it's me having a conversation with the community. It's really awesome to see. So I'll be doing these again. I don't think I'll do another one on YouTube publicly here for a little bit. I think the next live stream will be a Patreon live stream. It is something that I promised my Patreon supporters. So the next live stream will be for just them. So it may be about a month before I return to public YouTube. So if you want to see, see that live stream, if you want to support me on Patreon, thank you so much for doing so. It definitely allows me to be a full-time YouTuber and make 3 videos a week, make a podcast a week, but also, work and perform on the Discord. But I will get out of here. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your great questions. And folk, until the hall, Skull. All right. Let's see. How in the world do you end this?